Originally, this program was performed at the Korea Society last January for the New Year's special event. So I designed this program with Korean real classical chord dance and music and instrumental repertoire. I'm just Korean gaegeum player, but I studied Korean dance and Korean music. I wanted to show all of them at the same stage to the audience, and also not only that, and I also in a Korean court music and dance, because even for Korean people, they don't know about the Korean court dance or Korean court music. This program would be a little bit difficult to understand for the audience, so we asked some historical lecture of the piece to Dr. Robert Provine, who is a renowned Korean music specialist. So we collaborate. The reaction was very nice. So we are now promoting this program to the world. Here in Boston, great scholar and Korean literature specialist, Dr. David McCnn. He will lecture about the Korean shijo and literature related to the pieces.
And I quickly discovered when I was studying it that some of the people known as kiseng, women from the Joseon dynasty, and produced some really remarkable shijo poems. And one in particular that everybody knows about is the famous one, 청사리 벽에 수야 수위가 모자란 마라. Deep blue stream, don't be so proud of your easy passing through these hills. And I remember, at first starting to read the poem and getting a sense of it as a Korean expression. And then I realized, well, it could be almost described as being about our journey through life. And it goes by so quickly, and then we're gone into that vast sea, so stop and pay attention to what's in the world around you. And when I began to study the other shijo poems by kiseng, by women, some of them were very funny. They were expressions, though, of women in a culture that was lined up with Neo-Confucian values that put men at the top. And these were very strong expressions of a woman's identity. So I've become very interested in that.
Right. So do you have some ideas?
Some ideas about that, yeah. I mean, when you're a graduate student, as I was, and you're reading a text in a book, you see the words and you get the idea of it, right?
Yeah.
If you hear it, it can be a little startling, because somebody will say, well, sure, I can sing that. And they'll go, 청산이 didn't mind. I wanted to add what she was saying about how you study, and then there are these different schools of practice in the Sanjo, and your particular pathway is improvisation, right?
Yeah.
But you can only get there if you study a lot, so that you really know it.
Right.
And this reminded me, there was an item in the newspaper 2 days ago about Yo-Yo Ma, and how he says every time he plays something, no matter how many times, he discovers something new.
Yeah.
And I think the audience feels that in the way he plays.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly improvisation, but I could hear something like that.
I think
what you said.
Yeah. I studied gaegeum since at age 5. There are 6 kind of schools of the gaegeum sanjo, but I mastered 3 major gaegeum sanjo. So I realized that the substance of the sanjo, traditional art form sanjo, is the improvisation. I only make my sanjo. I maybe play my own improvisation school, TeRra school. Maybe it'll be 7 minutes. Last year, some professors of the acoustic department at MIT interested in Asian jitters. So I studied not only Korean gaegeum, I studied but also Japanese koto and Chinese jang. So they want me to have a presentation about the whole kind of Asian jitters for introduction to MIT students and scholars. Yes, and then I had a performance. So they calculate about the condense about the string of gaegum. So it was the for MIT students quiz.
Oh, they had a
Question.
quiz about it?
Yeah, about this very important examination.
Mhm.
I've heard it, so everyone's know now gaegum.
Oh,
Yes,
in
I
Korea?
think
Do you follow some of the contemporary authors in Korea?
I do. It's interesting. On the one hand, there are a number of very good shijo poets in Korea now. Hong Sung-nan, somebody I've met several times. Jo Ho-hyun, Lee Gun-bae, a very lively shijo scene that I'm interested in. I think for most Americans, it's very hard to grasp how dynamic and large scale the literary scene is in Korea. In the United States, if a book of poems sells 200 copies, most people are pretty happy about that. And in Korea, you can have it go 500,000 or more. A lot of interest in the Nobel Prize, which is coming up again. And of course, there's often a Korean writer who's being talked about as a possible Nobel laureate. So I think Korean literature is certainly getting some attention in the world. Maybe not as much as K-pop and dance groups, but it's getting there. And I think one of the challenges is the translation question. Well,
Is this your first time collaborating with a gaegum player on the theme of Korean literature and poetry and music?
I would have to say yes.
Yes.
I've never done anything really like that.
How do you feel about it?
I feel terrified. Korean musical performance tradition is really astonishing, and I think
As you know, Korean kiseng, they did all of things, including literature, music, dance. Yeah, so when I play my music or dance, I imagine, I often imagine the past of their period. So each piece has connected with literature, totally. As I said, Korean language, Hangul, and also the kiseng's poetry, and so at the court dance there is called Changsa. It's sing for the king. So every piece has connection with the literature. So I'm very excited, and I think I'm very honored to collaborate with David McCnn.
How you feel about the representation?
우리 보스턴 지역에 우리 한국 문화에 관심 있으신 분들 많이 와주셨으면 좋겠고, 꼭 우리 한국 문화뿐만이 아니더라도 이렇게 많은 다양한 문화를 경험할 수 있는 게 바로 이 미국이라는 것인 것 같아요. 그래서 제가 이렇게 보스턴에서 이런 공연을 갖게 돼서 감사하고, 많은
Make a 농현 on that instrument too?
농현?
Yeah.
I think you can do that.
농현 참.
You sing.
정살이 몇 개수야 수익감을 자랑 마라 인도 장하이 하면 다시 오기 어려워라 명월이 만공산하니 수여간들 수여간